So, Dr. Poland, you were talking about a military study called Too Fat to Fight, and then Still Too Fat to Fight.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about what did that study conclude, and where do things stand?
So this was a large number of generals and admirals, mostly retired from the military, alarmed at the inability to accession young males and females into the nation's armed services. And what they discovered is that about 75% of draft age eligible men and women are ineligible to join the military. About a third of those simply because they're overweight or obese. So we now are facing an issue where literally overnutrition has caused a state where we cannot fill our military ranks appropriately. And this is a problem getting worse and worse. Those reports were published in 2010 and 2012. Now we're at 2016, and those rates of overweight and obesity keep climbing.
Okay, the rates of obesity among military age people and
military age
coming into the military?
Right.
And is the military doing anything to change its training regimen or to do anything to try to adapt to this?
They're doing a couple of things. In part, the reason for those reports was to make obvious to Congress school lunch programs. In many schools, the physical fitness or gym programs have been eliminated to say, hey, this is actually now a national security issue. So that's one thing they're doing, is calling attention to it. The other thing they're doing is suggesting solutions. So for example, a lot of the recruiting stations will take and work with high school age men and women and teach them about nutrition and about exercise. When they come into the military, they're given the opportunity to meet those weight standards and those physical fitness standards. If they can't or won't, obviously they're dropped.
Now you have a series of Dr. Poland's rules.
Yes.
What are they?
So our rules are only eat on the days you exercise. You get 1 day a week off. And there's some exceptions, like if you're sick or traveling. But literally, the culture in my family is we do activity 6 days a week. Just like we eat every day, we make time for physical fitness and activity. We shop from the periphery of the grocery store. That is it's sort of a cute way of saying not the refined foods. We want the fresh foods. We say eat food, eat less, mostly plants. And then we avoid the highly processed, high fat, high sugar, high salt diets. And then we have an algorithm that we use. And the algorithm goes like this. Should I work out today? If the answer is yes, you go and work out. If the answer is no, it leads to a node that says, yes, you should, go work out.
Okay. And so these are very simple, but are they effective? Do they work?
Well, they do in my family, and we successfully created a culture where our kids are exercisers. I think it's a lot like reading, for example. Read to your kids, they're more likely to become readers. Model good nutrition and regular physical activity, they take it up. A good example for that is the European cultures, particularly the Scandinavian countries. They have a culture of fresh food shopping usually every day or every other day, preparing healthy foods, and family level fitness activity. It's good for their mental health, their physical health, it bonds them emotionally, and it's a really important way to live. And you know, as Americans, we recognize opposite how most of us live in a city.
And what have been some of your favorite responses from your colleagues to your rules?
So my colleagues and my patients have said things like, is this the starvation diet, or is this the rabbit diet? The funniest one I heard is, well, if I follow your rules, Dr. Poland, can you assure me that I'll live longer, or will it just seem longer?
Okay. Finally, more seriously, obese people generally respond less well to vaccines than normal weight people. I know it's a very complicated explanation why, but what's the best kind of overall explanation of why?
You know, I think the key thing to remember is that obesity causes a state of immunodeficiency. I mean, not to the extent that AIDS would or diabetes might, but along the same concept. When you are overweight or obese, you are inducing a state of immune suppression in your system. That means that you're not able to respond if you get infected with influenza virus. Or when we give you a vaccine to protect against influenza, the data are pretty good for older adolescents and adults. We drop your ability to respond to that vaccine when you're overweight. So it's a real dilemma, because obviously we want to protect people against infectious diseases, their complications, and from a societal point of view, we want to induce herd immunity. We want large numbers of people to be protected so that people who can't respond or who are immunosuppressed from a disease and can't get the vaccine are still protected.
Okay, I think that's all we need, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah.